Hello, educators first. I'm Robin Montegari, and I think I'm live. I'm going to just give a couple of minutes um, to see if we get any people in right now to watch and to join me. So, oh, hi, Anna. Anna's on, so I'm definitely in the right place and I'm definitely live. And I am going to just wait 1 minute, if that's okay, Anna, to see if anybody comes on in. And then I will get started. I'm so happy to be here tonight, and I hope everyone had a good day. Okay. So, as I said, I'm Robin Montegari, and I am here to speak with you tonight about, whoops, excuse me, drop my notes, about mindfulness. And first of all, I just want to take a moment to thank the Educators First team and Anna and Mallory for inviting me to speak tonight. I have such a soft spot in my heart for educators. Um, I don't even know, I haven't counted how many family members and close friends are educators. I have nieces, nephews, in laws, so many in the field, from support staff through administration. And I can't even tell you how much I appreciate what I know they all put into their jobs. It's a job of love, that's for sure. And I also have another reason that I have a soft spot for educators, and that is because until very recently, I was a high school counselor. I retired. My retirement was official in August. And while I was a counselor, I ran many school wide mindfulness activities. I did small groups that were focused on mindfulness. And of course, I brought mindfulness into all of my work with my individual students. I place such a high value on mindfulness and on educators. So, this is a great place for me to be. I'm super happy to be here. Also, while I was a school counselor, I had a side gig as a life coach. And during the year last year, I kind of was making a decision to transition. And eventually I did make that decision, and that's why I retired. I retired so that I could make my side gig my main gig. And so now I am a life coach. I work with women. Um, I coach women into self love, deep and powerful self confidence, and a personal vision so that they can say yes to all of those things that they want in their lives, and equally important but often forgotten, so that they can say no to those things that no longer serve them. So I have a real passion for that. But I will also tell you that um, any work that involves building self confidence, getting in touch with your inner self, your inner being, um, building your self love, any of that starts with self awareness. And mindfulness and self awareness go hand in hand. At least in my book, they do. Mindfulness is integral to self awareness and therefore to self love, to self confidence, to your vision, and on and on and on, right? So I feel like I'm talking about, learning about, cultivating, and practicing mindfulness in everything that I do. And I love it. So I hope that in our time together tonight, you find a little bit of inspiration. Maybe you have some great ideas to share, and we just spend a little bit of time talking about how we can incorporate some easy, um, that's the word, easy mindfulness activities into our personal lives so that we can calm what is so often, and especially in your jobs, what is so often a chaotic world that we are living in and moving through. So I want to apologize in advance that I do have some notes, so I'll be looking down on occasion. But I want to, in the spirit of mindfulness, before we get started, first invite you to arrive. Just come into this space and be present so that we can share openly back and forth, hopefully, and really hear the information. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to take a breath in through your nose, out through your mouth or your nose if you prefer. Let's do that again. I like to make a sound when I'm exhaling. And I'd also invite you to close your eyes as you just take 3 or 4 more nice, cleansing, deep inhales and full exhales. And I'm going to invite you to just draw your awareness to how you're feeling in your body right now. Feel free to stretch your neck. I like to go right ear to my shoulder or left ear to my shoulder. Don't forget to breathe. Chin to chest, and just feel that stretch in the back of your neck. Nose to sky. Feel that stretch in the front. And just move your shoulders, your body, any way that feels good to you. And just notice how you're feeling in this moment. And if you can, just let go of any of your worries from the earlier part of the day, any of your concerns about the future part of the day, and come to a place where you realize you have no place you need to be right now, nothing else that you have to do, no matter when you're watching this. Just be present. And then if you've closed your eyes, I'll invite you to open them back up. And we've arrived. And I'm so happy to have you here. Hi, Mallory. I see you. So I want to ask, what comes to mind for you when you hear mindfulness? When people say you should try mindfulness, you should put it in the classroom. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Mallory. You should put it in the classroom or bring it into your classroom. You should incorporate it into your life. What do you think when you hear mindfulness? It's a big word in the past couple of years. I'm just going to give you a few seconds to share with me in the comments any words that come to mind. Yeah, Mallory says awareness and presence. Yes, often people will say meditation. They will say monks. They will say something I don't have time for. They will say it's something they don't quite understand. But most often we do hear awareness and presence. I love a definition that I found in a Psychology Today article, and if you don't mind, I'd like to read it to you. It's just A definition that I really speaks to me and maybe will resonate with you as well. Mindfulness is quite simply full conscious awareness. It is paying full conscious attention to whatever thoughts, feelings, and emotions are flowing through your mind, body, and breath without judging or criticizing them in any way. It is being fully aware of whatever is happening in the present moment without being trapped in the past or worrying about the future. It is living in the moment, not for the moment. And I just love that definition. It's lengthier than some, right? So many people will say, and this is the definition, is paying attention, right? Paying attention to whatever is before you. Um, but I love that. I love a couple of the phrases in there, and in particular, it's living in the moment, not for the moment. It is not being trapped in the past or in your worries of the future. So, to me, that is a beautiful definition. Mindfulness offers you a way to flow with the ups and downs of your life, the peaks and the valleys, and all of the stuff that is flowing into us from around the world: social media, television, radio, newspapers, the many interactions that you have through the day with students and other professionals. It's all of that stuff that is bombarding you all the time. And I would like to add that while what we do today, like the breaths we just did to arrive, is all awesome, these are awesome practices to incorporate into your classroom, I'm really speaking to you, the person who is not just a teacher, not just a custodian, not just an administrator, not just any of those things, not someone who is working with a bunch of other people and giving. I'm talking to you who also has a life outside of your work. I really hope that you find a way to incorporate a couple of these things into your personal life before you go to work, after you go to work, and while you're at work, and when you're interacting with the people that you love. So, again, it's a way to cope with, manage, feel strong in the face of all of the peaks and valleys, whether they're the things that are happening at work, at home, or in the world. Okay, let me take a look at my notes. Oh, yeah, you might be like, I was. I'm not so much anymore, but I am still some time. And instead of being mindful, I was living mindlessly, right? So I was getting up in the morning, getting ready for work, maybe making breakfast for the family, battling the traffic on the way to work, dealing with the many things that we deal with when we are at work. You may have a classroom of 20, 25, whatever students. You may have co-teachers. You have bosses. You have all of these other people. Then you go home to another job often, right? To the job of running people from place to place and being in more traffic, picking kids up from daycare or babysitters, dealing with a spouse, so many things, not to mention squeezing a little bit of time in for yourself somewhere in there, right? There's a lot going on. And at the end of the day, you may look back and think, I don't even remember going from point A to point B. I know I got all these things done, and I know there were a couple of highlights. I know what they were. I know a student had a breakthrough. I know my daughter told me something she did in dance class that was great. And I know that they're great, but I don't even remember feeling it because I was on autopilot, because I was going through the day mindlessly. Mindlessly. Can you just feel the difference between mindlessly and mindfully, right? So that's what we want to do today, is try to figure out a way to be mindful, right? To try to figure out a way without shutting out and shutting down the world. When we are faced with things such as in the news, things that are scary, with illness and violence, with financial issues, when we are faced with things that are weighing us down, how can we walk through it totally aware and alert, maybe feeling some fear, maybe feeling some frustration, maybe being angry sometimes, but being able to feel it and move through it and get to the other side, still in awareness. That's what we want to talk about. That's where the magic is, right? That's the good stuff. So, what I'd like you to do right now, and let me actually take a look over here. Mallory added, I feel like I constantly have a million things going through my mind and I need breaks. Yes, and that's need in capital letters. You need breaks. You need breaks for so many reasons. I couldn't even begin to list them all. But we could start with one reason, and that's for you. Because you have so many responsibilities and so many people relying on you, including yourself. And you will not be your best self for any of them or for yourself if you're not taking care of yourself. And it's as simple as that. You know, our tempers get short, our frustration levels get stretched to the limit. We are not good for students, our children, our parents who may be aging, our spouse, if we're not taking care of ourselves. Cannot pour from an empty cup. So, what I would like you to do right now is take a moment, take one of those breaths, and if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And I would like you to think about a typical workday from the time you get up in the morning until the time you're done at the end of the day, getting ready to go to bed maybe. So take a couple breaths and just visualize yourself going through that day with its challenges and all the things that come along with it. And I'm just going to give you a minute to kind of go through your day in your mind. Okay. So you can open your eyes if you had them closed. And in the comments, please share some thoughts about how that day makes you feel. So what is your emotion at the end of the day? A word or two. Okay, so often those words are tired, frustrated, Anna says heavy, Mallory says different points of the day, I felt my chest tighten a bit and I felt overwhelmed. So these are often the types of responses that you get, right? At the end of your day, this is how you're feeling, sometimes angry. So what I want you to do with me right now is, and you can do this, yawn and stretch. So it's so easy to yawn when you try to make yourself yawn, right? Well, give yourself a good stretch and then do it again. Stretch, feel it in your back, through your arms, through your shoulders, maybe roll your neck. Take a breath and just note your feelings. how that stretch made you feel and that yawn, the feelings that you were having before you did that. Just notice. And notice the relief that you hopefully just gave your body, your neck, your jaw. And sometimes it helps to label those feelings that you were having. So you could, as you're yawning, you can label them frustration and just let it go. This is an easy thing that you can do in the morning before you face your family for breakfast. In between classes, maybe you just had a class and it was frustrating and you're feeling short-tempered. You can do that technique to just bring yourself back to the present, out of that past, which is frustration and short-temperedness, and back into the present moment. And you can tell yourself that you could just start again. I love that. I love the idea that I can start again, that every breath is an opportunity to start again. It's so powerful that you have that ability right there within yourself. You don't need anything external. It's right there. Sometimes when I'm doing that activity or a breathing activity or any type of mindfulness activity, I will also get some kind of inspiration. And it might be something that will make that situation that had me short-tempered and frustrated better, something I could do to improve or something I can change that will be better. And then I'll follow that inspiration and I'll take that inspired action. Or sometimes I just remind myself I can start again. Each breath is an opportunity to start again, and that is the secret sauce of mindfulness. If you go through your day mindlessly and just keep letting those frustrations and those fears and those aggravations, if you just keep letting them pile up and you just keep going through it mindlessly, you miss all of those opportunities to start again. If you take a few pauses in your day, before you walk into your house or while you're waiting to pick up one of your children, if you intentionally do a mindfulness activity like the one we just did or some breathing, you give yourself the opportunity to say, okay, yeah, I feel those things. Those things are real, but I can let them go and I can start again. Or I can let them go and I can do it differently next time. But it's all up to you, and you need to take those mindful pauses to get to that point. All right, so I want to tell you a few other easy mindfulness practices that you can incorporate into your day. And then also ask you to share some if you've got some ideas of your own. And oh, Mallory, I'm glad that you felt lighter. I love that yawn and stretch activity. I really do. It's quick, it's easy, and sometimes just feeling that tension in your neck and your shoulders and your jaw release, or just feeling it, can make a difference and help you to get grounded and come back to the present moment and get out of the past and out of the future. I love that. So, a couple of other mindfulness activities that you can incorporate into your life to calm the chaos of the world we live in and the world that we have no choice but to live in, right? So, you can do mindful eating. You may have heard of mindful eating. Oftentimes, people will suggest you do it with a raisin. I like doing it with a raisin or a lifesaver or some type of candy like that, or a piece of a caramel that you can chew. And you use all of your senses. So maybe during your lunch or in the evening, you get a raisin, a piece of candy, whatever it is. You want to use all your senses. So you're looking at it, you're smelling it, You're putting it in your mouth and tasting it. You're noticing all the sensation of it. You can hear what it sounds like in your head when you're chewing it. You use all of those sensations to take a few minutes and mindfully eat that raisin or piece of candy or whatever it is. Now, during that time, as with any of these activities, thoughts might be creeping in. Thoughts from your day, thoughts of the future, thoughts of the past. That's natural. We're human. Mindfulness is not meant to shut out thoughts. You just notice them, accept them for what they are, no judgment, no criticism, and let them go and come back to whatever the practice is you're doing. In this case, chewing, eating, whatever it is, right? You just notice them. We're human. Thoughts happen constantly. Okay, onward. So, mindful listening. I love mindful listening. This is a little bit meditative as well, just like everything else. So you might close your eyes and pick a sound that's constant. It could be an air conditioner humming. It could be birds chirping outside. It could be the sound of your children's laughter coming from a playroom. Whatever it is, take a few minutes and just listen to that sound. There's other sounds, but your focus is on that air conditioner or the children laughing or the birds chirping outside. And let other things come and go, pass like clouds, right? Your thoughts can just pass like clouds. Other noises, cars racing by, just let them go. You come back to that sound. Maybe set a timer, a couple of minutes. It brings you back in the present moment and it allows you to start again. And also, I want to interject here that any of these mindfulness activities, mindfulness is so good for your emotional, spiritual, physical health, reduces anxiety, reduces your blood pressure, lowers your blood pressure. I guess that would be the same. Reduces feelings of depression. There are so many benefits. Energizes you. So many benefits that isn't it worth incorporating it into your life? You know, there comes a point where it just becomes a natural part of who you are. So when COVID first started really creeping in, I guess the end of 2 years ago, and everybody was washing hands, washing hands, washing hands. And there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of question marks. And I was feeling some real anxiety. And I am somebody who has been practicing mindfulness for years. But it really was getting the best of me, just bombarded all the time by news and what people's opinions and a lot of fear. So I started washing my hands mindfully. So every time I went and used the restroom or needed to wash my hands before I ate food or wash my hands after I touched something I shouldn't have touched, whatever it was, I would wash them very mindfully. I would notice the soap, the smell of the soap. I would notice the way the water felt on my hands, and I would spend some time noticing that, maybe repeating a mantra in my head, just so that I washed my hands long enough, and then I would dry my hands and move on with my day. Didn't take very long, but it became a really relaxing moments throughout my day. And even now, I mean, I was doing it so mindfully, it just became a part of my everyday existence, a part of the core of my being. And even now, I find myself, I'll be at a restaurant, I'll use the restroom, and when I'm washing my hands, I will look up in the mirror and say something to myself, a mantra or something to myself that I say. And I will notice I'm still doing it. I'm still washing my hands mindfully. And it really reduced the level of anxiety that I was feeling at the time. So I know this stuff works. You may know it for yourself too, because you may do it as well. But I know it works. And I encourage you so strongly to make it a part of your everyday life. Let me see if I have any others. Mindful walking, of course, um, which is the same. You're just basically walking for a few minutes. You could do it in a small circle. You could do it in a hallway. Just noticing your footfalls, maybe counting your footfalls, just being mindful of just that, to come back to the present moment and to reground yourself. And I want to add to mindful walking one other thing that I love, that I do mindfully, weather permitting, and that is grounding. So walking barefoot outside is also just such a wonderful activity, and practicing mindfulness that really kind of connects you to the earth. And yeah, I find that one to be extra energizing and gives me extra peace when I do it. So I would encourage you to give that a try as well. And again, there's almost anything you can do, you could do mindfully, and you can turn it into mindfulness. So if you have any ideas, I would love for you to share them in the comments. Um, yeah, you can vacuum mindfully. So many things. So if you have any, please list them in the comments. And then finally, of course, meditation is a big part of mindfulness. You can meditate, even 5 minutes of meditation a day will make a difference for you. I promise you. People say, I can't sit still, I can't not be thinking. It's not about not thinking. Again, in meditation, those thoughts come in, you notice them, you let them go, you go back to your breath or whatever it is you're focusing on. So, as I said, even 5 minutes a day, and there are a lot of apps for that. You can find a lot of guided meditations if you Google them. I know oftentimes there are purchases within the apps if you want to get to any of the, good meditations that they have deep in there. So I did want to offer that UCLA Mindful is an app. I know I've been using UCLA and the Hammer Center through UCLA. They have had guided meditations online for years, and I've been using them. I don't know when they developed this app, but there is also now an app. UCLA Mindful is the name of it. It's totally free. Has a lot of things about mindfulness, so education about mindfulness, but also some really wonderful guided meditations. So I would encourage you to give that a try as well. And I guess to close out, I would like to first say thank you. Thank you for participating and for being here and for taking the steps to be your best self. Taking the steps to be your healthiest self, and for making the time in any of these workshops that you participate in the community. So, in closing, I want to invite us all to just take a couple of breaths. And I wish you a wonderful, peaceful rest of your day, wherever you are, whatever it is that you'll be doing. And again, thank you, Mallory. Thank you, Anna. It was a real pleasure to be here. And I will put a link to, I have a free group in Facebook. It's for women. And it's part of my coaching program, but it's a free group. And I will put a link to that in the comments if that's okay. And I look forward to maybe seeing you all again. Have a good school year, everyone. Take care.